I'm Gary.
This is Austin.
And we are Midwest Mikes coming back at you. Happy New Year, everybody. We are, as usual, live from the UClick TV studios right here inside the Hy-Vee Arena. Been a great New Year. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Great New Year. How you been, buddy?
Been doing pretty good. It's been a while since we've been back in the studio, so it's nice to get back in here and do a show.
Yeah.
Last one we had was show 100 at the Well, which was awesome. Can't say enough about how much of a great job the Well did, and then how hospitable they were with all of our guests and everything. So it was awesome. So great experience.
Yeah, Chuck, the manager that day, and then Emily, our server, took great care of us. I mean, like you said, couldn't have taken better care of us. Like, we couldn't have had it anywhere that would have been a better environment. So thank you to the Well for having us hosting Show 100. And I mean, I think the food was good. By the time we got done with the show and I got up there to get some, it was all gone.
Yeah, the food was really good. So note to self, we probably should order some more food.
Well, that's because I took my paycheck out of the food buffet and really enjoyed it. The wings, I'm not a big wings guy, but they weren't messy. They didn't have all the sauce on them, so really good wings.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah, we said, we can't pay the big bucks, but we could feed you every once in a while. So
we pay the medium. We pay like the medium bucks.
Yeah. So we've been talking about hashtag fire Jason Garrett. He may or may not still be the coach of the Cowboys. There was a report last night from Ed Warder of ESPN saying that they're going to continue without him. Then today, Dallas Cowboys official Twitter tweeted that no changes have been made to the coaching staff. So your guess is as good as mine, but hashtag fire Jason Garrett lives on. I
was enjoying all the memes out there with Freddie Kitchens. Tyler put one up and texted us. Freddie Kitchens hired as new Cowboys coach. That'd be pretty funny. So I've been hearing some stories. I saw a story out of Cleveland with the OC. Did you see that one?
No.
The Cleveland offense coordinator before games was going up to the other team's coaching staff and telling them how much of a mess they were. So he said basically Freddie, they would game plan Wednesday through Friday, and by the time Sunday came around, Freddie wouldn't even call that stuff. He would change the whole thing. And so, anyways, that's another reason why Cleveland went down. But back to the Cowboys.
Hold on. I got one thing. Your buddy Gary walks in and said wouldn't mind Lincoln Riley, but I thought I saw some tweets that you kind of were like after the game not happy with Lincoln and didn't want him in Dallas.
Immediately after that game,
that was pretty bad.
But the more I thought about it, you can't base it on just one game. And I mean, when you're recruiting in college, and we'll talk to our guests a little bit about this in a few minutes, but you got to recruit to win your conference first, and it takes a different type of athlete in the Big 12 than it does in the SEC. And so I think that's why Lincoln Riley and Oklahoma are 0-3 in the playoff and all those things. He's recruiting to win the Big 12, which is kind of what you have to do. But you also have to have some guys that can keep up with those SEC athletes. It's just a different breed. So
do you put that game more on Jimmy's and Joe's versus X's and O's?
I do.
Really? Yeah, because I think that makes sense. I feel like Lincoln Riley is a sharp football mind, but they got totally outplayed. I mean, like, it was totally outplayed.
Yeah.
Now, one good point someone made was that the momentum basically went all through, and I don't buy this, but they went to LSU with the pass interference. That was really bad. Remember that? But
I mean, you can't let it come down to one call. We've talked about that a lot.
Dead in the water after that. So it was that was a rough game. The next game was much better. Clemson Ohio State was an amazing game.
Yeah.
Clemson coming away, which I took Clemson. So I wasn't surprised on that. But one questionable call, right?
Yeah, but like I said, you're going to have those. So
that's true.
Let's welcome in our guest today, Rickey Hunley. He is the cornerbacks coach at Liberty University, coming fresh off the first bowl win in school history in the Cure Bowl. That was back on December 21st. Briefly kind of go through his coaching experience at a glance. Like I said, now present from 2019 to now, Liberty University as the cornerbacks coach. 2018, he was at the Incarnate Word as the safeties coach and recruiting coordinator. West Georgia before that as linebackers, special teams coordinator. Southwest Baptist, a couple hours south of us here. DB's coach, special teams coordinator, recruiting coordinator. Was at Lindenwood doing safeties. Spent a year at the alma mater, Grandview High School. Before that, was at Iowa State as the athletic academic coordinator in 2008. 2007 was at his college alma mater, Drake, coaching safeties. And then before that, kind of started his coaching career at Theodore Roosevelt High School in Iowa, which is also where I started my career. So we were kind of working together there. And has a bachelor's degree in social sciences from Drake. His wife, Nikisha, children Taylor, Reagan, and Cameron, and is a Kansas City guy. So, Rickey, welcome into the show.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Good to kind of catch up. You know, we were talking a little bit before. You know, you were bouncing around there so much. You know, you really didn't get any time to come home and just kind of hang out. So
yeah. It's
good. You've been in town all week and been able to relax.
I have, man. It's been a while since we've really come in town and been able to be still and to, you know, just really enjoy the family and the break. Because as coaching is, man, sometimes you get in a position where if you're doing things, you know, positive and negative, you can be in a situation where you kind of on the move. And for the most part, we're blessed and fortunate enough that it's been positives for us so far. So,
yeah, you know, let's start. You know, you played high school ball at Grandview High School.
Go Bulldogs all day.
Yeah. You know, that was a great experience. You know, talk a little bit about, you know, your high school playing experience. I mean, I know you were an all-star your senior year, played in the MoKan game, and, you know, many accolades there. Just talk a little bit about your high school playing experience.
Well, I mean, for us, as you know, just growing up and playing in Grandview, we played Little League ball out in South Suburban, which was in Grandview at the time. And at that time, we were living here in the city, and we would go every weekend and play out there. And then eventually we ended up moving to Grandview and played, graduated from Grandview High School, played ball there, and really enjoyed my time, not only with our program, with the community. You know, really tight-knit community. At the time when I was there, you know, our freshman, sophomore, junior year, those were some of the lean years. Mm-hmm. Now, I played with some phenomenal athletes, you know, the Byron Gassaways, the Brian Thompsons, you know, the guys that went on and had the opportunity to continue to play at the collegiate level. But when Joe Hornback came, my junior year, you know, it was one of the toughest years we had from a win-loss standpoint, but you could tell that it was trajecting the right way with him at the helm. So our senior year had a great or good year, solid year, you know, knocked off team early in the year. I think it was Ray South. Mm-hmm. It was picked to be, you know, the in-state and you know, top 10 in the state or whatever it may be. And then from there on, my younger brother went there, and I mean, they took off. And obviously, you were around and a part of those years where they were, you know, state semifinals and you know, just really had a good experience, man. Grandview, the community, the high school has always been good to me. It's a place that I will forever be home and will always love.
Yeah, fantastic. And then, you know, you got the opportunity to go play collegiate ball at Drake University, just a few hours north of us in Des Moines. And talk about why that was the right fit for you at the time and your experience there.
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, it kind of goes back to the Grandview deal. Cedric Stanley, who was a corner with me, that would have been my sophomore year. You know, was a senior at that time. Went to Drake from Grandview, was recruited by Chris Ash, you know, to go there. And he was a guy that, you know, I looked up to. You know, we had a good relationship, good friendship. His dad was an awesome coach on staff for us as well. And, you know, he was just kind of in my ear throughout, like, you need to come see what's going on at Drake. You need to come see what's going on. And so visited there, Missouri State, you know, some other places. And when I got to Drake, man, you know, with Coach Ash, Rob Ash, who was the head coach, and then Chris Ash, who recruited me there, man, I felt like it was home. You know, I felt like, one, I was going to be a better player, better man for being in that environment. But two, it was a successful program at the time that I was there. And so when I got there as a freshman, was able to play and contribute immediately. We won conference that year as a true freshman. And then, you know, we kind of were, you know, 7-win team throughout the rest of the time. But I felt like I kind of grew as a young man in that process, not just as a football player, but, you know, I came into my own from what I felt as a leadership standpoint. As well as made some friendships and relationships that I'll have for the rest of my life. And anybody that knows college football knows that there's a lot of guys that come off that Drake University tree from a football standpoint. And I just feel like I'm kind of that next guy in line that's come and kind of made my own bones, so to speak, in the collegiate ranks as far as from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah. And Coach Jeter was there at that time, right?
Matt Jeter was and is not only one of my best friends, but at the time was a mentor for me. My dad has always been in my life, and he's been that guy that I always looked up to. But the guy that I would say would be the next in line for me was Matt Jeter. And Matt helped me become a better player, a better man, and we talk daily. We actually talked earlier this week just about ball, our families, catching up at the convention. And he's a guy when, I got things going on, I'm trying to figure out what we need to do better, from the cornerback position. He's a guy that, to me, is the guru that I'll call and touch base with. So I love Matt and always will be one of the most important people for me.
That's fantastic that, you were able to build that relationship, in college while you were there at Drake. And, I mean, Des Moines is kind of I felt like, the time I spent there, Des Moines is a special community too.
Agreed.
I mean, and Drake holds a special place in that city's heart.
There's no doubt about it. When you get to Des Moines, for me, for us, it's a little bit of a culture shock because it's a smaller city. I mean, Kansas City isn't, crazy huge, but it's bigger than Des Moines. And so initially I'm there and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to handle this? I'm on cornfields not too far and all of those things. But once I got within that sophomore year, junior year, man, I was ready and not ready, but was able to spread my wings in the city, to meet people throughout. Probably, and my wife will attest to this as well, probably some of the best people that I have ever met and been around were those folks in Des Moines. They welcomed us in. They took care of us as a young couple when I was finished with my career at Drake and when we started at Roosevelt. That was just a place to me that was so similar to Grandview and to being home. And so it's got a little hidden gem aspect of it for sure.
Yeah. I always tell people I would have still lived there, but that cold wears on you.
And and the funny thing is, people will say, well, it's 3 hours north of Kansas City.
Yeah.
Man, that is a different cold.
It is.
That hawk is different when it's whipping through the streets. So
yeah. So we mentioned, Theodore Roosevelt High School. Our head coach from high school, Joe Hornback, had taken that job, and he had brought me on, and I think a year later you had finished school, and you came on and working there. I mean, like you said, I felt like it was a similar area, similar population to Grandview. Very diverse student body. Had some good athletes while we were there.
For sure.
Unfortunately, we're not unable to progress real far into the state playoffs. But talk about that and just kind of being a young coach and learning from. I mean, there was some really great guys on that staff.
The unbelievable part about that to me, and I tell people now, I tell the guys that I coach now, I really didn't see myself wanting to coach. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do when I got finished up, and I was kind of at that crossroads that you're at. And Joe called me, and as you know, his mom was ill at the time, and he was moving back. And he said, man, I need you to come coach the secondary for me. And I'm like, well, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm fresh out. I don't know if I'm suited and the right person for it. And he said, well, just give me a shot, give me a season. I'll help you get a job. And I was still finishing up my last semester. So what I ended up doing was taking all classes in the evening and working through the day. And so, man, you fast forward to now, and that was a blessing that I had no idea it was going to be, because I feel like part of who I am and why I'm here on earth is to be a coach. Not just from a football standpoint, but to help mentor as well. And so, the Cameron Middlebrooks, the James Conleys, those guys that we had, for 3 years or 2 years from the time they were sophomores to seniors, and us to see the progression from a 500 team to a team that, like you said, was competing to play in the state playoffs. It just really kind of put it all in perspective for me that this is what I want to do. This is who I am. So
I know that last year that we were there, we were 6-3, and not everybody got the playoffs then.
Yep.
And we were unfortunately the odd man out. That year there was I think 4 6-3 teams, and I think 3 of them made it.
Right.
We were the odd man out, just based on like strength of schedule, or one game we had lost, somebody had beat us. But I mean, just to see that progression, like you said, of those young men that have been with us that whole time there. And